So if you aren't aware, Article 13 has just been passed by the European Parliament. If you don't know what this is, please do yourself a favour and read up on it. Ignorance is not bliss in this case. You might remember the article being voted for a little while ago this year. That's because it was, and it was rejected by the public. Well, here it is again, more stronger than ever, and this time it passed. To me, it demonstrates just how little the European Union give a fuck about democracy. If they're gonna put something to a public vote, it get rejected, and then bring it back. That's not democratic, that's not how democracy works. Almost the entire internet was against this, including the guy who created the fucking thing. But the EU decided to say fuck the public and brought it back. Although I think they already knew that they were going to do that, and they already knew that they could, because they weren't going to be questioned or challenged on it. The only reason why we had that vote in the first place is because of, believe it or not, UKIP leaders. It wasn't Labour that fought for our freedom of speech. It wasn't the Conservatives. It wasn't the Greens. It was UKIP. It's shit like this and laws that the European Union are trying to pass. This is the reason why we voted to leave. This is the reason why we want to get out of there. It was all done with roll call votes, meaning you can actually see which MEPs voted for this. So I'm going to be taking note. I'm going to be starting a little naughty list of those people who voted this through. Anybody who thought this was a good idea to pass. Because it's dangerous. If you're a small creator, business, entrepreneur, sole trader, this is going to affect you first-handedly. Things like the link tax in Article 11 just show how out of touch some of these MEPs actually are with the youth, and not even just the youth, people in general who use the internet. They're so disconnected from the culture. If we as a nation don't stand up for what we think's right, the pricks in the grey suits will take advantage of our ignorance. So please educate yourself. Don't rely on schools to do this. The education system isn't concerned with current events. It's for teaching the past more than anything. Let's roll it back a bit. When I was 17, the UK voted to remain or leave the EU. I was too young to vote then. You had to be 18. Thank fuck I was too young, because in the last couple of years my views and opinions have changed a fair bit. I went down the rabbit hole of right-wing politics, and bear in mind I do lean to the left. I've always been left-wing generally. I live in a left-wing area. My family is mostly left-wing voting. However, it seems that the left-wing are just repeatedly shooting themselves in the foot with this unnatural introduction to everything from identity politics and feminism to just blatant communism and worship of the state. Which is really fucking frustrating when I came from that ideology. I voted for Corbyn last election. Thank fuck he didn't get in, although I'm not a fan of Tories, and Theresa May is pretty fucking incompetent as far as I can see. Knowing what I know now, I'm staying away from Labour. Do you want to know how we ended up deciding to leave the EU? Do you want to know how Trump got elected, even though it seemed that everybody hated him in the world? The media hated him. And still does, because he calls them out on their bullshit. The left is the reason why Trump won. The left is the reason why Corbyn didn't win. We voted out because the country got sick of left-wing extremist ideologues like Antifa. It's kind of funny how the media are so quick to slap on the label of alt-right, extreme right-wing, disgusting, racist, homophobic, misogynist, whatever the fuck you want to call us. When the real issue at hand here is the regressive left. Why is it that the media just seems to gloss over the fact that Corbyn is incredibly far left? It couldn't be that they're trying to push an agenda or any kind of narrative, can it? No. I'd like to send an open letter and also invitation for discourse and discussion to the left wing. I'd like to ask the left if they can actually acknowledge that there is an issue with freedom of speech in this country and Europe. Chelsea Russell at 19 was prosecuted for posting some rap lyrics on Instagram that were deemed grossly offensive. The same way the Scottish courts described the joke made by Mark Meakin, otherwise known as Count Dankula, who got his name drugged through the mud and labelled a racist by the mainstream media. According to The Independent, 625 arrests were made under the guise of hate speech. How the fuck can you sit there in your ivory towers and tell me that there's not an issue with speech in this country? And lastly, if you're one of these people who thinks that they're just one person, they're an individual, they can't make any political difference because they're They're only one. Think again. You're not alone, and even if you were, it's not like your opinion doesn't matter. You're a citizen of the country, your opinion matters. And it doesn't mean you can't exercise your right to speak. Enjoy the freedom while you have it. The final vote's planned to take place January next year, and a lot of politicians think that it will go through. Please don't let this happen. Save your internet. Oh, one more thing. SoundCloud, new single. Go and listen to it.